So today I read a little more Bill Clinton's My Life, and I will talk about what I read. It's not a lot, so it's gonna be a short video today. So, anyways, I'll start. So it starts with something very bad happened. The Israel leader was shot dead by an Israeli law student. Bill Clinton was really sad because they were working together on this peace process for 2.5 years, and now suddenly he's like shot dead. So Bill Clinton was like really sad. And then President Bush, him, other past presidents, and some congressional leaders, and three senators, and former Secretary of State, and other few several business leaders all flew to Jerusalem to attend the funeral. And many world leaders also went, and some even under the risk of being assassinated, they would go and attend that person's funeral because they all pay respect to him. And then he went to talk about the GOP cuts. So Clinton reflected, the Republicans had consistently overestimated revenues and underestimated spending. Now that they control the Congress, they had gone too far in the other direction. Okay, and then he reflected some more. President Reagan ran huge deficit. Now Gingrich, Republicans were trying to use a balanced budget with unreasonable revenue and spending assumptions. And then Clinton reflected some more on Republican strategy, saying if they cut funding for Medicare, Medicaid, education, and environment, middle class Americans would see fewer benefits from their tax dollars, feel more resentment paying taxes, and becoming even more receptive to their appeals for a tax cut. Yeah, so that's like two explanations. First, the Republicans have their considerations. President Reagan ran huge deficits, so they were like thinking they want to balance the budget again, so that's why they want to cut spending. But also they feel like it's like a more selfish part to cut the spending will make people don't want to pay tax, and then the Republicans promote tax cut, and then they will support Republicans more. So there's like the selfish side, and then there's the like the other a little more selfless reasons. And then Clinton reflected some more. I still wanted to balance the budget, but in a way that was consistent with our fundamental values and without threats and without partisan rancor. So, partisan rancor, I'll post this word here, means deep seated hostility and resentment between opposing political groups. So, he feel like it shouldn't be about them being hating on each other. It should be for the good of American people. And then Republicans attempt to pass their budget through a backdoor CR. So CR means continuing resolution. I'll post the word here. And CR authorized funding for departments until their new budgets are enacted. Um, so um, so like before the new budget become law, they will pass some budget, and then or not pass some budget to like, to go through some of the ways that they budgeting and pass or not pass. So the Republicans attempt to pass their budget, like a very tight budget, through CR. So yeah, and then the Congress debt limit is worse than CR, weakening environmental laws. the legislation also stripped the flexibility of Treasury to avoid default. So they stripped the flexibility the Treasury can have to avoid default. So now the Treasury will have no flexibility anymore. And then Gingrich threatens to shut down the government and put America in default if he didn't accept the budget. And then so Clinton's team ran TV ad to highlight administration achievement like the crime bill. And then the Republicans threatened if they shut down the government, his presidency will be over. Then Clinton feel he would never allow their budget to become law, and Clinton said, if you want your budget, you will have to get someone else to sit in this chair. And then Clinton vetoed both the CR and the debt ceiling bill. Then the next day, the large portions of the federal government shut down, disrupting lives of million Americans who need their Social Security, veteran benefits, business loan processed, and the Republicans blamed him for it. And so what he did is he continued to ask Republicans to send him a clean PR, so ones that's like reasonable. And then he signed more bills. The bill he signed is the Department of Transportation Appropriations Bill. And then his economic team believed the deficit can get into balance in 7 years without a harsh cut. And then he signed more bills, which is for more appropriation bills, which is for legislative branch, Treasury Department, postal services, and general government operations. Then about 200,000 of the 800,000 federal employees have slowly come back to work. So that's like a struggle, a fight that they had. So that's it for today. It's not a long video. I hope you have takeaways, and no, the sun is in my eyes. Anyways, hope you enjoy, and I'll continue to read this book.